Hey, welcome to Anthropology of Myth, Legends, and Horrors. So this is going to be the format going forward for the rest of the semester. The class is entirely asynchronous. I am posting lectures, short ones, pretty much every day, I think 4 days of the week. These are going to be these little short videos that exemplify a concept, an idea, a thing that I'm going to talk about. The videos are posted on Teams. If you use Teams, I'm also posting them on YouTube. If you want to use YouTube and subscribe that way, then you will have notifications for the channel that I created last semester. So that might be a way to keep up with the class. This is the Blackboard page, which you may or may not have seen yet, that has most of the information centralized. Around that first page, there are two surveys. If you could complete them as soon as possible, that would be great. Just one to figure out what is the best way to do the class. The other one is to figure out what is the best way to do the final. So we're just getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here just to make sure that the rest of the semester goes smoothly. There's also very basic information for links posted right there, which are going to be part of the assessment, which is probably the most concerning part of most classes, especially when you are starting a semester. So I'm going to look over the assessment part today just to make sure that you have that in check. And if you have to make a decision about the class, you can do that right now. So your first assignment will be to use an online generator to write stories. Because we're going to be talking about stories, myth, legends, and horror stories, we're going to figure out the best way to make a story along the course of the semester. Part of that is by looking at existing Torah stories, and part of that is by looking at the ways in which people have already figured out how to make those stories, and these would include online generators. So for this assignment, I'm using YellowDig, which is essentially a Web 2.0 type of discussion board, kind of like the one that you have on Blackboard, just a little bit fancier. This is mostly a way for me to have an easier way to interact between the different parts of the semester while keeping the parts separate but together. Hopefully it will make sense. But so this assignment is due January 31st at the end of the month. But you basically just have to create a story using a few clicks of a button or a few letters. So this is what the YellowDig page looks like, and at the top there's a pin post with the story generators. So click through the ones that you like and see if you can make a story that works for you. If for some reason you make a story that doesn't work for you, or you can't find something that works, you can still post it and explain why you don't like it. That might be an option for you, but you might also find something that you like. One of the options is using ChatGPT, which is one of those fancy artificial intelligence things that the whole world is all up in arms about. It's a conversation bot, so you can just ask ChatGPT, please tell me a story of this and that, and the chat is going to generate one. Then you can again comment on it. So that's part of the assignment here. Number one, create the story. Number two, make a comment about it, what you like, what you don't like, what it makes you feel, whatever. The second part of the semester will be to look at all the stories that everybody has posted, and everyone will comment on everybody's stories, or at least three of them. There's 40 some people in the class, so there should be one or two or 15 that you might be interested in. So let me know what the story evoked in you, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if it makes you feel weird. If you make a story that is especially creepy or especially nice, please let that be known. That is due by February 28th. So that is kind of the base level of how stories work. They kind of elicit emotions, and this is part of what we are looking at here, with the understanding that these stories are created by computers that don't really understand emotions. So let's see if the emotion lays in the characters, in the stories, in the conceptions, or whatever. These are very short at this point. But as the semester will progress, we are going to look at a little bit longer stories and a little bit more aspects of myth, legends, and horrors, the whole point of the class. So after that, we are going to move on to the discussion board on Blackboard, where there are a few pre-selected categories that are going to focus on very specific humanoid characters. This is an anthropology class. Anthropology is the study of humans. So we are going to look at stories that focus on humans especially. This week, we're going to look at a couple of other things, but this is going to be very human-centric. Hopefully you have an idea of what anthropology is. Sasquatch, zombies, merfolk, heroes, witches, spirits, vampires, aliens, um, alien humans of some sort, humanoids. So the story here will be there are 5 message boards inside of these message boards, and these ask questions about who these people are and what these people do. So the goal is to talk about each one of those creatures or type of creatures and ask some very basic questions about them. Who are they? What are their goals? How are they going to get their goals? What do they have to do to get their goals? What can we learn from them? So these are very basic questions. You can answer those questions about your favorite alien, your favorite zombie, your favorite movie, whatever it is, but something that has to do with those characters especially. So who are they is a pretty basic one, of course. What is their goal is what they want. So if you're talking about zombies, their goal is brains, of course. If you're talking about aliens, their goal is whatever you think aliens are about. How are they going to get their goals? Well, similar things, right? If if the character of the week is zombies, are they going to get their goal? Well, are they going to run or are they going to walk? That's going to be part of the question. If they are aliens, how are they going to get their goals? Well, they're going to go on the spaceship and come to Earth. Now, what do they have to do to get their goal? That's a slightly different question because people have plans sometimes, and those plans don't necessarily come through. So, if your goal as a zombie is to run to get some brains and people run away from you, then what do you do? Do you create traps? Do you gather a bunch of zombies to corner people in a room? That's the part of the question. What can we learn from that story? Well, I don't know. What can we learn from zombies? Should we run from them? Should we fight them? What are zombies about? Very basic questions. Again, no right or wrong answers, perhaps, but I do ask from each of you to answer each question. It could be very brief, it could be very long. I don't know how you feel about any of those. Maybe some will have a little bit more inspiration for you than others. This is kind of up to you. All of these will be due April 28th, which is the last but one, the penultimate week of classes. Last week of classes, we're going to finish what will be the long-term goal of this class, which is to create a synopsis. Synopsis for a mythological story. The synopsis is a narrative summary of a story's plot, so we're not writing the whole story, we're just getting kind of to the bones, no pun intended, to what a story is. This is typically used by writers who are seeking to publish their work as a proof of concept. Just to get the basic idea of how the story works. There are some requirements to what the synopsis should include: characters, motives, quest, a path to adventure, obstacles, the results, whether it's a success or a failure, reflection, or a conclusion, and a moral. We're going to talk about these things as we go. We're going to talk about what these things mean as we move along, but this is kind of the long-term project. You may see how this relates a little bit to what we're doing with the other monsters or creatures or humanoids. Feel free to choose a zombie to make your final project, or any one of the creatures that we have mentioned before, but in that case, you might find it a little bit more interesting to make your own version of what that zombie is, that alien is, that vampire, whatever it is. So, creating new stories, perhaps, or better stories, if you will. The first reading of the class posted on Perusall. There are a few readings, about one a week, posted on Perusall, just as a support to things that we're going to talk about. I'm going to mention them in the videos as well. Usually every week there's going to be one video about the reading, just to get over the best parts of it. Please check out those readings. There's an annotation tool in there if you want to talk about the meaning, the readings with others. That's a way to do so, or ask me questions. The first one is The Myths of the Origin of Fire by James George Frazer. We're going to talk about this guy a little bit more this week. It's kind of a foundational figure for anthropology of magic and myth and the such. So that's going to be our goal. And I'm going to stop here. So this is just, again, format of how the class is going to work, 10, 12, maybe 15-minute video about a thing or another. I'll try to slow down the next ones, but I'm just showing this for right now.